And here it is. There's the Myers house. This is the actual one used in the film that was moved from right down the block, right over there in that spot, to right here. Let's recreate some shots. Michael would walk up. He'd walk right up here, and then the camera would start to pan this way. Then he walks around to this side window, and he looks in the window here. And this is where he sees Judith Myers making out with her boyfriend. And they make their way upstairs to have the quickest movie sex in cinematic history. So then he makes his way back this way. He looks up in the window from right about this angle, and he sees them turn off the lights. Realizes this is his moment, and he makes his way back. He walks around the side of the house here. He goes to the back door that is right there. Now, the last time I was here, these gates weren't here, so I was able to actually walk up to the door. Can't do that this time, but Michael walks in the door, and it's all history from there. So right now, I am outside of the location of the original Myers house. So the original Myers house location, because they moved the house down the block, but I'm standing where it originally stood. And I'm gonna show you some lined up shots so you can see that. So let's start with the tree where it starts. So the movie starts with the camera right behind this tree. So it would be here. The camera would pan out this way. And that house there, along with this driveway, all of this is new development. But that whole thing there is where the Myers house stood, about right in between my fingers there. That's where the original Myers house stood. And that's the opening scene to Halloween, where the camera would then pan this way. So the camera would start to come across the street from the point of view of Michael Myers. Where you see this 727, that would be the actual entryway to the stairs, would be right there. So the house is that close. You can literally throw a rock from the original location to its new location. So it's this street right here that Annie and Lori are driving down, and they're smoking, and Annie sees Sheriff Brackett right over there on the corner, which is Nichols Hardware. So then, as they make that turn, Michael pulls up right about where that van is, and he stops his car and watches them pull up to the hardware store.
My dad! Get rid of this!
So now I'm in front of what used to be, in the movie, Nichols Hardware. It is now a Radika Indian restaurant, which kind of makes me hungry. I like Indian food. So right over there, Annie would have driven with Lori, made the turn, and pulled up right here, right in front of this door, and Sheriff Brackett would come over to the car and talk to Annie.
Well, there he is, just being natural for me.
Hi, Annie. Lori.
Hi, Dad.
Dr. Loomis would come walking from this direction here, He'd walk over here and he'd stop right here where you'd have a conversation with Sheriff Brackett. Michael would be pulled up and parked right over there at the light in that spot.
Sheriff. Pardon me, I'm Loomis, Dr. Sam Loomis.
Lee Brackett.
I'd like to have a word with you if I could.
Well, maybe a few minutes. I've got to take
It is important.
10 minutes.
I'll be here.
And then Sheriff Brackett leaves. Dr. Loomis is standing right here where I'm standing, right about here. And Michael pulls around from this spot here and makes the turn and goes that way right behind Dr. Loomis. Loomis never even notices. So now I'm here at Haddonfield Elementary School, or Garfield Elementary School in South Pasadena. This is the scene where they filmed Tommy Doyle being stalked by the shape. And then it's also the same school where they filmed Laurie Strode looking out of the window and seeing Michael Myers across the street standing behind Dr. Loomis's car. So it's right there by that door where Lonnie Elam and his friends, one of them played by Mickey Yablans, trips Tommy Doyle onto the pumpkin after they pick on him and tease him about the boogeyman.
The boogeyman is coming. Leave me alone. He doesn't believe us. Don't you know what happens on Halloween? Yeah, we get candy. Boogeyman, ooh, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman, the boogeyman.
So then after they trip Tommy, the young Mickey Yablans runs down these steps here, and you could actually see that exact hand railing right there. You can see that in the movie. It looks like the same one. And he bumps into Michael right here in this spot. So then Tommy starts to make his way across the schoolyard, and it looks very different now because now there's a playground, but everything else looks exactly the same. So Tommy's walking across the yard and Michael is following, and right about the time he gets to this tree, Michael speeds up and starts walking a little faster, and then he comes over here and he gets into his car. Well, into Dr. Loomis's car, which is parked right about here. So he gets in the car and he begins to drive around that corner right there. So then he follows along this way, and Tommy is coming out of that side right over there. Then Tommy Doyle will make his way out of this exit right here and start to walk along this sidewalk that I'm on now. And Michael would be in the car on the street right here. So I'll see if I can get that exact view. So Tommy is walking this way, and there's the front of Garfield Elementary, which stood in for Haddonfield Elementary. So he follows Tommy along this way. And you can see all of this in the background. Nothing has changed. It's exactly as it was. And then Michael speeds up and takes off down that way, leaving Tommy Doyle behind. So we're still here at Garfield Elementary, and this is also the same location that stood in for Haddonfield High School when Laurie Strode was inside of the classroom and she looks out of the window and sees Michael Myers. So we're gonna walk up to it, and it's gonna be this window right over here, right in the back. So they've got like a little sticker on the window here. And that's it. That's the exact room where she's sitting. And you can see the bookshelf behind her. So there's more windows here, but they put in a bookshelf right behind her to kind of close in the area. But this is the exact room. She looks out the window. If I turn the camera around, she looks straight that way. And Michael Myers is standing right over there with the car.
He was destined to his own fate, his own day of reckoning with himself. The idea is that destiny is a very real, concrete thing.
So right behind what was the elementary school in Rob Zombie's Halloween would be the Strode house. Now before we see the Strode house, let's pay respects to Mustafa Akkad right here. In loving memory of Mustafa Akkad, known to the world as the godfather of the Halloween film series. Your legacy lives on. Filmed in South Pasadena in 1978. So he has a whole bench. So here we are. This is the famous spot where Laurie sits down. Before we get those shots, I am gonna walk up and grab that pumpkin for some photos. Wow, I am walking up to the Laurie Strode house. Check that out. There's the pumpkin. But the first shot has Laurie running across this lawn, or walking across the lawn here. And she goes right across here. And then she makes her way this way to the front steps of her house. And then she hears something coming from that direction. So she walks up to right about here, and she sees the trick-or-treaters coming out of that house, which you can't see because now all these bushes are in the way, but we'll get that shot. So this house right here, greenhouse, she sees the trick-or-treaters come out of the front of it here. She walks away. And then a shot from right about here, we see Laurie Strode say, "Well, kid, I thought you outgrew superstition." That happened right here.
Trick or treat! Trick or treat!
Well, kiddo, I thought you outgrew superstition.
Then it was right about this angle here that we see Laurie's dad come out of the door, and he tells Laurie, "Don't forget to drop the key off at the Myers place."
Don't forget to drop the key off at the Myers place.
I won't!
They're coming by to look at the house at 10:30. Be sure to leave it under the mat.
Promise!
So this is the establishing shot from 1978's Halloween. Looks a little different now. The trees are bigger, blocking that house on the right a little bit, but you can see that house right there in the shot. Laurie and Tommy walk across this street right here And then they make their way to what would have been the Myers house, which are now apartments that sit right there.
Hi, Tommy. Coming over tonight?
Same time, same place.
Can we make jack-o'-lanterns? Sure. Can we watch the monster movies?
Sure.
Can you read to me? Can we make popcorn?
Sure.
So Lori, Annie, and Linda come walking down this way here. You can see this house in the background here with the 3 pointed roofs there.
Want to get by your own? Phone's plenty off of me, girl. What time tonight? I don't know yet. I have to get out of taking my little brother trick-or-treating.
And then Linda will break right around this spot here to go over to her house, which is right here. Lori and Annie will continue walking.
Saving treats for Bob. Funny. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
And then as they do, they see, or Lori sees, Michael Myers standing right there behind that hedge.
Annie, look.
So Lori tells Annie to look.
Oh, subtle, isn't he? Hey, creep.
So she walks this way. She grabs the bushes. Just, hey, creep. There's no one there. Oh, Lori, dear. He wants to talk to you. He wants to take you out tonight. You're supposed to run to me.
There.
Poor Lori. Scared another one away.
So Annie leaves and Lori starts to make her way this way. And as she does, you can see, if you watch the movie closely, two guys pick their heads up over that balcony there because they notice that a movie's being filmed and they want to see. And I guess no one caught it and they pop up in the film.
Much.
Guys think I'm too smart.
I don't. I think you're wacko. Now you're seeing men behind bushes.
So Lori continues to look over her shoulder back toward these bushes. And she gets right here past this second bush, looks over her shoulder one more time, and then slams into Mr. Brackett right here. And this is where we get the famous line, "It's Halloween. Everyone's entitled to one good scare." Now I'm at South Pasadena High School, and this is where Lori and Linda leave school to go on that walk. So we are gonna walk up this way so we can get the shot that we need. So this is the exact hallway where Lori and Linda are leaving school, and they come walking out of here. And you'll notice that there were lockers along this wall right here. So those were put there for the movie. Those lockers are not actually there. So then they come walking down this way, right past these double doors. You'll see them in the film.
The game is in the afternoon. I have to get my hair done at 5, and the dance is at 8. I'll be totally wiped out.
And then they'll turn this way, and you'll see the Haddonfield High School sign was right here in this section that they put there for the movie, and they'll walk right past it to go on that walk where they see Myers and do the speed kill scene.
We We have 3 new cheers to learn in the morning. The game is in the afternoon. I have to get my hair done at 5, and the dance is at 8. I'll be totally wiped out.
I don't think you have enough to do tomorrow.
Totally.
All right, so I'm standing in the infamous speed kill spot, and this is where Lori, Linda, and Annie are walking, and Michael drives by in the car, and they think it's Devon Graham, but it's not. And then Annie yells out, "Hey jerk, speed kills." That happened right here where I'm standing, and then if I turn the camera around, you're gonna see where Michael Myers stopped the car. So Michael's car would have stopped right here, and you can see there's this stone wall right there where my finger is, and the stone wall ends, and that's how you know we're in the right spot. So if I were to turn this camera around, this stone wall runs all the way down for 2 blocks from one corner and almost to the next, but it stops right there. So if you look at this photo, you'll see that the stone wall ends there. The difference is that some of these trees have been pulled out, and you can see that balcony very faintly in the background of the shot.
Hey, isn't that Devon Graham?
I don't think so.
I think he's cute.
Hey, jerk! Speed kills!
But this is it. This is the speed kills scene. All right, we are in Los Angeles, and we are just outside of the Doyle house, which is right across the street from me, right over there. And then over here to my left is the Lindsay Wallace house. Let's go take a look. All right, so here it is. This is the Lindsay Wallace house. After Lori finds her friends dead here in the Wallace house right upstairs, and she runs next door, right to this house. She runs right to this house and she knocks on the door right there. And she's screaming for help, but they cut the light out on her, letting her know that they're not willing to help. So then she runs out, right out of this driveway here. And there's the Doyle house. So I can't do the exact path because there's so much stuff in the way, like right there. But then she runs over here to the Doyle house. And it's right here. She runs right up to the door, starts banging on the door for Tommy to let her in. Throws the flower pot up at that window right there. Tommy wakes up, makes his way downstairs. In 1978's Halloween, they didn't actually use that balcony to shoot Michael Myers off of the balcony. It was actually in the back, the balcony that's in the back on the 2nd floor that they used. And you'll notice that if you watch this scene. Then in part 2, they would go ahead and reshoot from this balcony. The door is no longer there. They put a window in its place. But this is the balcony where Michael Myers would have fallen off in part 2. So just a quick note. Right now, the entire inside at least of the upstairs that I can tell, is completely gutted. So it looks like they're renovating the entire inside of the house. I don't know if they plan to do the same to the outside. So I'm glad we got here to see the Doyle house in its original state, at least on the exterior, before anything changes. A lot like what they did to the Lindsay Wallace house with the garage. So now I am here at the sanitarium gate. This is where Dr. Loomis would have pulled up. There would have been a payphone right over there in that corner. And there's the gate.
Stop here.
Shouldn't we go on up to the hospital and...
Wait.
So we're gonna go ahead and walk up to it. So Loomis would have walked up here, and right in that corner would have been a payphone.
Are you sure it's not more back there, though?
No, it was right up at the gate, right at the turn. And you could see the S-curve in the shot right there.
Okay.
So Loomis would have stopped right here. And he would have been making the call to the sanitarium on the phone that was out there while Michael Myers was making his escape. And then right around here is where the car would have pulled around when they were pulling up to the main gate. So this would have been the entrance to Smith's Grove Sanitarium. They would have pulled up right there.